Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife, Kara, is busy. And in this video, we are going to do the full review on the Kansept Goblin. Now, I want to say thank you to Kansept for sending me a couple knives. And I also want to say it really impressed me that they sent me a couple more knives because they know that I base my reviews around sharpening, use, and real life experience with the knife. So a company that sees that and knows that and then says, hey, we want to send you a couple more knives, puts them on a higher pedestal to me, because that means that they care about their product and real life experience and that they trust their product. So awesome. Thank you, Kansept. I appreciate that. And I do want to say that I do have a couple more or a few more reviews coming soon from Kansept, and we will talk about some of those here in a second. But first, let's get into this knife. So, I did have a little issue with a lock rock where it rocked back and forth this way. Now, I knew I could fix it. Otherwise, I would have just sent it back. No problems. They would have fixed it and sent it back. But I knew I could fix it. But let's first start talking about the sharpening. So, I sharpened it up. I started on a 300 grit diamond stone, and I did have a little issue with right here with the stone hitting right there. It kind of barely tiny recurved right there, just a little tiny bit, and it was making it a little difficult just to hit one little tiny spot. Not a big deal. I did wind up sharpening it out, but I do show it, so let's take a look at that. Now, when I put this on the stone, look right there. You're going to see a little tiny gap. Do you see how it's not hitting directly right there? You see the shadow underneath right there? But the edge is hitting here and here, just right there. It's got a little tiny gap. And in all reality, that's not that big of a deal. I did sharpen it out. After getting done sharpening on a 300 grit diamond stone, I moved over to the 600 grit diamond stone. Finished sharpening on there, and I already knew that I was going to put in a new sharpening choil because their sharpening choil was a little shallow in my opinion. Now, I could have sharpened it without hitting it and been more careful. I absolutely could have, but I already knew I was going to cut in a sharpening choil because I wanted a little bit deeper of a sharpening choil, and I didn't want to have to be very careful when I'm sharpening, when I get next to the choil. And that's why I like a little bit deeper of a sharpening choil, because then you have to be very careful around the choil area, and I didn't want to be. So I took it apart. Now, this is not a D-shaped pivot. You do have to use 2 screwdrivers, 2 T8s on this side, and then down here, you got to use 2 T6s, or at least break it free with 2 T6s, and then finish it off with the T6. I took it apart. I was very impressed with the internal milling on this, and then not only are they using captured ceramic bearings, but they also have a little stainless steel washer that goes against the titanium for the bearings to roll on. It's basically like a little racetrack for the bearings to roll on. It also has an internal stop pin and a ceramic detent ball for the detent. So very impressed with the mech, with how it's built and the build quality and all of that. The hardware seemed very well done. It is steel hardware that does have like a dye finish on it, or however they got the blue on the hardware. But either way, well done hardware. Got it all taken apart, and then I clamped up the blade, got my Dremel out, got the bit that I wanted out, and I wanted to start off with a diamond bit. Got my diamond bit and my Dremel all set up, and I went to cutting in a new sharpening choil. So I cut in my sharpening choil. Everything went well and nice and smooth, no issues. And then I finished it off just to soften up the spot, the sharpening choil a little bit. I used a soft aluminum oxide stone. It's a really soft stone, and it basically just buffs. That's really all it does. And got that all done. Then I wanted to work on the lock bar. So I pushed over the lock bar just a little bit. Now I know, like I said, it was a very little tiny bit of rock, so I knew it would easily come out. and I pushed the lock bar over a little bit, then slapped it all back together, got it all lubed up using KPL lube, and now it's yeah, it's all good. Oh, I forgot to show also really quick. I did, after sharpening it, I did strop it, and here's the edge on a piece of paper after stropping it on aluminum oxide compound and a leather strop. So you can see it's slicing like a beast with the 600 grit edge. This blade steel is S35VN. So S35VN, I really like S35VN at a 600 grit. Now S30V, I like to bring to a higher grit, but S35VN, I love it at a 600 grit. Let's take a look at the edge. And the sharpening choil now looks really good. So much better now that this choil is bigger, and the edge looks really good. Matches up really good. The grind was really nice on it. Now, let's take a look at a little bit of cutting with it. So this thing cuts really good for the size. I want to say that right now. And even for a big hand, you know, for my full-size hand, I can get a full grip on this little guy. And this is not a big knife, so it works as a compact little slicer. I mean, it slices beautifully. Goes right through cardboard really good. Granted, I wasn't cutting double-walled cardboard with it, but it cuts very, very well. Slices like a champ. Had no issues with the cutting performance. The geometry on it is pretty good. We'll talk about that in a second. Then the utility cuts were also really good. This little sheep's foot blade, you get a lot of leverage in sheep's foot blades towards the tip. You can get a lot of pressure. Basically, all the pressure you put into the knife, you can get into the tip very easily. So it's very easy to do draw cuts and to do utility cuts. Now, let's talk about the blade. So the blade thickness, it is a little bit thick behind the spine, but it does get down to about 14 thousandths behind the edge. So I had no issues with that, and that's on my calipers and my blade. So I'm really happy with the thickness behind the edge. You know, it's a small knife. So I'm happy that they didn't make it 25 thousandths behind the edge, because then that would just defeat the purpose of it being a small knife. The point of a small knife is to be, you know, to do little fine tasks, and they should cut very well. They're not going to be axed through wood. You're not going to be batoning with them or scraping and prying, I guess, depending on what type of knife and field of work you're in. But this thing works really good for cutting. Now, I love the blade, and especially now with this new sharpening choil, I won't be afraid to sharpen it a few more times in the future before I bring in the choil a little bit deeper. But it looks a lot better now, in my opinion, and it was very easy to do. Now, the Stonewash finish on the titanium, I love this Stonewash. It looks beautiful. Just a nice speckled finish. The blue really pops. Then on this side, the blue, if you're wondering why it doesn't match, it's just because it's two different materials. You have titanium clip and then steel hardware, so the colors are never going to match when it comes to that, but it looks so good. Then you got the titanium back spacer that lines up really good. The fit and finish on this thing is incredible. The jimping from the front flipper also in return works really good. And let's look at that grip really quick. Now, it is a small knife, and we'll get into the size and everything here in a second, but with me being close to this blade using this front finger choil, my finger does, you know, kind of pinch around right here, but since this does angle down a little bit, it gives me something right there to actually hang on to, so I can get a full grip, which is nice. I am really close to the blade, but this is also another grip I use it in, like this, and it works really good. Or you could just go like that, because you get a lot of leverage just pushing on the spine right there. But yeah, worked really, really good. Let's talk about the action. So, oh yeah, and I want to say the rock it's gone. So no more rock. no play. It's really solid. I like it. It did go right to centering after taking it and putting it back together. Zero issues with taking it apart and putting it back together. It was super simple, super easy. It went right back to centering. So the fitment on these parts are done very well. Now the action, super duper fidgety. I mean, this thing is fun to play with. Not only is the reverse flick super easy, it doesn't have a very strong detent, which I like because it's a small, compact front flipper and reverse, you know, flicking action. So you don't want a really strong detent, but it's just tuned properly enough to work very well. And you can see the blade to handle ratio is very nice. And the reverse flick is super duper easy. Now you can thumb flick it, but I find that when I thumb flick it, the right here kind of gets in the way, my finger a little bit from it flipping. Plus, it's easier to just reverse flick it. And when you reverse flick it, you kind of change the angle of your hand. So now my finger's not in the way of this front flipper. The front flipping action, very nice. It's super easy to fidget with. And you can also go like that pretty easily. I mean, I'm not good at doing that, so that says a lot. Now, you can slow roll it. Slow rolling, it's very easy because the detent is tuned properly. Now, when you do the front flipper on this, you're going to want to, because the jimping is very nice on this. I will say that. I love the jimping on this. They put the height just right. You basically put your finger right here at the top of that. Then when you break the detent, you can see how it breaks. That's breaking the detent. It's basically when it opens up from the detent. Once it does that, just send your finger all the way across. You're basically putting a little bit of leverage, but not enough to break the detent. Just enough to put pressure. Then you go from putting pressure to full pressure, putting your finger from here all the way to here. And just go one sharp movement. And it's very, very easy. Then you can also use it to just slow roll it around if you like that. Now let's talk about the lock bar. Lock bar access is pretty good. They didn't do a cutout, but because of the way they chamfered the insides of these holes, and since they have this finger placement, I guess you'd call it, this little hole mark right here, it really gives you a place to just push it right over. No problems getting to this lock bar. I'm very happy with the way the lock bar is. Now, when you unlock it, because it's a front flipper, you might run into this issue where your finger is over the top right there. So just move your finger up and out of the way, and it'll fall right there. So that's just something that all front flippers you kind of got to be cognitive of. And I basically just, when I go to it, I just lift my finger, no issues. But you can also control it back here like that and move it up. Then do the thumb. Now let's talk about the drop. Drop is very, very smooth. Now, it's not going to be a free faller because of how light and little it is, but one little bit of effort towards the close and it'll close right up. So very, very nice. The bearings work very, very well. The clip, let's talk about the clip. So the clip in and out of the pocket works great. And I want to say that, you know, these clips are sometimes hit or miss for me. In the fifth pocket, this worked great. In the regular pocket, it works great. It's great in and out of the pocket, and it sits really nice. I mean, it kind of sits at an angle, but that's kind of the way your pocket's going already. Now, it's not reversible, so it is only a right-handed carry, but it sits in the pocket really nice, and it goes in and out very nicely. And I like the way it looks. I mean, it's just a stylish looking pocket clip. It doesn't look like every other pocket clip you see out there. So it looks really good. Not saying that I don't like all the other pocket clips out there. I love, you know, but when you make a stylish pocket clip like this, it better work, right? You don't give me a stylish pocket clip that works like crap. This one works good. So no problems there. Now, let's talk about Oh yeah, I just want to say it does have a steel lock bar insert. It has an over travel stop, so you don't have to worry about unspringing the lock bar. And it, I did say it has internal stop pins and all that. So what are some bad things? So we kind of already talked about them. One, I wasn't happy with choil, so I did cut in my own new choil. I think that they could have gave you either a little bit, they could have just did it deeper. Exactly how I did mine is how it should have been done. A little bit deeper away from the plunge grind, because you see the plunge grind is right there. So now I have this much life from here to sharpen now before it'll start hitting this little spot right there. Now another bad thing, and we'll go back to some more good things here in a second. Another bad thing is that it did have a little bit of rock, going back and forth, which, when it's side to side, that's something you can just tighten the pivot usually. But, this one had the rock back and forth, and you've seen me fix it. Not that big of a deal. Next thing, that does not have a D-shaped pivot. You do have to use 2 bits. Now, I am happy that they at least put another Torx on the other side. Where I wouldn't have really liked it if they would have did a non-D-shaped pivot, just a spinning pivot without a bit. So I'm glad that they put a bit over there. Same thing with down here. You do, if you just do one side and it's Loctited, it will just spin the screw. So you do have to use 2 screwdrivers. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm mentioning it. Other than that, those things, I mean, that's really all there is. This thing is, like I said, good geometry for a small knife. The ergos are fantastic for a little knife. Obviously it's not a big knife. And let's talk about a couple big knives really quick, because really soon, and we're going to do some size comparisons here in a second. This is another one of their models that they sent me that I'm testing right now. And then we also have, this is the Accipiter. And then we have the Helix. Both big knives, so we got some full-size Kansept knives coming. Can't wait for the reviews on these. I've been testing them, as you can see, but that's coming forward soon. Let's do some size comparisons really quick and talk about the size of this little guy. So this is 5 3/4 with a 2 1/4 inch blade. 2 1/4, 5 3/4. Let's look at some quick size comparisons. If you know the CJRB Malaya, they are perfectly exactly the same size. And then there's another Goblin, which we will do a versus video eventually. The Bestech Goblin versus the Kansept Goblin. The Kansept Goblin is just a little bit shorter by about that much than the other Goblin, the Bestech Goblin. And then we have one of Kansept's own knives, the Kansept Little Main Street, which we do have a review coming soon. They're pretty close in size too. I get a lot better ergos from this guy though, but basically the same size. And then let's do one more, or we'll do 2 more back to back. Here is the Ferrum Forge Prolix and the Benchmade Mini Grip. I know they're both a lot bigger than it, but it really shows you the size. When this is a small knife and this is a small knife, it really shows you how small this little guy is. Now, like I said, for a little tiny knife, they gave you this nice finger choil right here, so it does let you still get a full grip. The jimping from the flipper tab works great, so you can really get a good pinch. All in all, this is a great little user, a great little knife that will work for a lot of people in a lot of places. And even though mine had that little issue with the rock, I have no doubt that Kansept wouldn't have fixed it themselves if I wouldn't have, fixed it right away. And like I said, I give them a lot of credit for sending me more knives, seeing that I, since I use them and I sharpen them, and that's how I base my review around them, is how they work in the real life, not just how they operate. So thank you, Kansept. And I want to say that all in all, you know, this is a great little knife, and I do recommend it. You know, with sharpening, with a little knife like this, a lot of people will get a lot of use out of it before they ever have to sharpen it. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Peace.